The warning siren screamed through the halls of the Galactic Council station. Ambassador Thel ran as fast as his 3 legs could carry him. His skin turned pale blue with fear. He had never heard these alarms before. No one alive had. In the Great Council chamber, representatives from 100 worlds gathered in panic. The massive viewing screen showed something terrible. Whole planets were dying. The Ravager swarm had broken through the outer defenses. Thel watched the screen with horror. The insect-like creatures moved like a dark cloud through space. They consumed everything. Metal, rock, living things, nothing stopped them. 3 colonies had gone silent in the last day. 7 more were under attack. "We are losing," Commander Velthus said. His voice was heavy with sadness. "Our fleets cannot stop them. They adapt to our weapons. They heal faster than we can damage them." The chamber fell silent. For 10,000 years, the Galactic Council had kept peace. Their wars were small, civilized affairs. They fought with rules and honor. But the Ravagers had no honor. They simply consumed and multiplied. An old Arcsite counselor stood up. Her crystalline body reflected the emergency lights. "We must do something we have never done before. We must ask for help from the unknown." Gasps filled the chamber. Contact with primitive worlds was forbidden. It had always been forbidden. The Council believed young species needed protection from the galaxy's dangers. "You mean send a distress call to everyone?" Thel asked. "Even to worlds we have marked as off-limits?" "Yes," the Arcsite said. "We broadcast on all frequencies. We ask anyone who can fight to help us. Otherwise we all die." The vote was quick. Everyone agreed. They had no choice. Far across the galaxy on a small blue planet, Commander Day sat in a dark room filled with monitors. The room was hidden deep underground. It was a secret facility that tracked signals from space. Day had been doing this job for 5 years. Most days were boring. Earth had been watching the aliens for decades but never made contact. The government decided it was safer to observe and learn. The computer started beeping. Day leaned forward. A massive signal was coming through on multiple frequencies. He had never seen anything like it. "Hana, get in here," he called out. A young woman rushed into the room. Hana was the best linguist Earth had. She had learned 17 alien languages just from listening to their broadcasts. "What is it?" she asked. "I don't know. It's big. It's everywhere. It's like someone is screaming into space." Hana sat down and started working. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. The alien symbols appeared on the screen. She had seen this language before. It was Velatin, one of the main council species. Her face went pale as she read. "Day, this is a distress call. They're asking for military help. They say something called the Ravagers is destroying their worlds. They're begging anyone who can fight to come help them." Day stood up. "I need to call Admiral Quan, right now." Within hours, every major Earth government knew about the message. The United Earth Defense Command Center filled with military leaders and politicians. The room buzzed with arguments. Admiral Quan was an old woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had fought in 3 wars before Earth unified. She understood the cost of fighting and the cost of doing nothing. "If we respond, we reveal ourselves," said a politician. "We've stayed hidden for good reasons. The Galactic Council treats primitive species like children. They'll try to control us." "If we don't respond, we let millions die," said Yuna, the chief strategist. She was young but brilliant. "We have the ships. We have the weapons. We've been building for this possibility for 50 years. Quan looked at the message again. It had been translated into every Earth language. She could see the desperation in every word. "What kind of species are we?" she asked quietly. "We hide in the dark and watch strangers die because we're afraid of being controlled?" The room went silent. "We came from a harsh world," Quan continued. "We survived ice ages, diseases, predators, and our own worst instincts. We built weapons that could destroy our planet because we couldn't stop fighting each other. But we also learned to work together. We learned to help each other. If we have power and do nothing, we're no better than the monsters we fought in our history." She turned to Day. "How long to mobilize the fleet?" Day smiled. "The fleet is ready, Admiral. We've been ready for years. We can launch in 6 hours." More arguments followed, but Quan made the final call. Earth would answer. They would send their best ships and their best soldiers. They would reveal themselves to the galaxy. In the launch bay, Captain Jin checked his armor one last time. He was a Marine built like a tank with scars from a dozen training exercises. Behind him, 300 soldiers prepared for battle. "Think they'll be happy to see us?" asked one of the young Marines. Jin laughed. Probably not. We're about to show them what real war looks like. They asked for help. They didn't ask for us to be nice about it. The ships launched into the dark sky. 37 warships, the pride of Earth's secret fleet. They were ugly compared to alien vessels. No elegant curves or glowing energy fields. Just thick armor, powerful engines, and enough weapons to level a city. On the bridge of the lead ship, Day watched Earth shrink behind them. Hana stood next to him, preparing the first contact message. Ready to meet the neighbors? Day asked. Ready to scare them? Hana replied with a smile. The fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed. The journey would take 3 days. 3 days until first contact. 3 days until the galaxy learned that Earth's humans were nothing like the peaceful species of the Council. 3 days until the Deathworlders stepped out of the shadows. Back on Earth, Admiral Kwan watched the ships disappear into the stars. Yuna stood beside her. Do you think we're doing the right thing? Yuna asked. Kwan was quiet for a moment. I think we're doing the only thing. They cried for help. We answered. Whatever happens next, at least we didn't stand by and do nothing. The two women watched the empty sky. Somewhere out there, the Ravagers were destroying worlds. And somewhere out there, a human fleet was coming to stop them. The galaxy was about to change forever. The sky above Telmara burned with death. Commander Velthas gripped his command chair as another explosion rocked his flagship. Through the viewing window, he watched his fleet fall apart. The Ravagers were everywhere. Their bioships looked like giant insects, all teeth and claws and acid. They moved in perfect coordination, like a single mind controlling 1,000 bodies. Every time the galactic forces destroyed one ship, 2 more took its place. Shields at 15%, his officer reported. The young Quellen's voice shook with fear. We've lost 17 ships in the last hour. Veltas felt the weight of command crushing him. Below on the planet Telmara, 3 million civilians waited for evacuation. The colony was dying. The Ravagers had landed and were consuming everything. Buildings, forests, even the ground itself disappeared into their endless hunger. All ships fall back to defensive position 7, Veltas ordered. He knew it was hopeless. They had no more defensive positions left. This was the end. Then something changed. His sensor officer made a surprise sound. Sir, I'm detecting new signatures. 37 vessels just appeared out of jump space. Unknown design. They're heading straight for the Ravagers. Velthas pulled up the sensor data. The new ships were strange. They had none of the graceful curves of Council vessels. They were angular, brutal, covered in armor plating. He could see hundreds of weapon ports on each ship. His communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke in perfect Velatin language, though the accent was strange. Galactic Forces, this is Commander Day of the United Earth Defense Fleet. We received your distress call. We're here to help. Please transmit all tactical data about the enemy. Earth? Veltas said in confusion. The primitive world. The one under quarantine? Sir, they're engaging the Ravagers, his tactical officer said. Veltas watched in amazement. The Earth ships moved nothing like Council vessels. They didn't try to maintain formation or follow battle protocols. They moved like predators, splitting into small groups surrounding clusters of Ravager ships. Then they opened fire. The weapons were shocking. Instead of elegant energy beams, the humans used solid projectiles that moved at incredible speeds. Missiles streaked through space, each one carrying explosive payloads. The Ravager's bioarmor, which could adapt to energy weapons, shattered under the kinetic impacts. What are those weapons? Asked the tactical officer. Primitive ballistic technology, Veltas said. The Council banned it centuries ago. Too destructive. Too brutal. But brutal was exactly what the situation needed. One of the Earth ships moved close to a cluster of Ravager bioships. Veltas expected it to fire weapons. Instead, the ship released dozens of small pods. The pods attached to the Ravager hulls and exploded, not with fire but with something else. They're using nuclear weapons, his science officer said in horror. Fission-based explosives. That's a war crime under Council law. It's also working, Veltas said quietly. The Ravager ships died in brilliant flashes of light. Their bio-armor couldn't heal from the radiation. Their regeneration systems failed. For the first time in months, Veltas saw the enemy actually retreat. But the real shock came when the humans did something unthinkable. They boarded the Ravager ships. Captain Jin felt the crash as his boarding pod smashed through the bioship's hull. The metal teeth of the pod bit deep, making a seal. His helmet display showed toxic atmosphere and high radiation on the other side. Masks on, Marines. This is going to be nasty, he ordered. The pod door exploded open. Jin and his squad rushed into hell. The inside of the Ravager ship was a nightmare. The walls were alive, pulsing with organic tissue. The air was thick with spores and poison. The temperature was hot enough to cook meat. The gravity was crushing. For the Marines, it was just another day. Jin's armor compensated for the gravity. His suit filtered out the poison. His weapons had been designed to work in any environment. Behind him, 300 Marines pushed deeper into the ship. The Ravagers attacked. They were smaller than the bioships, but still massive. Each creature was 2 meters tall with forearms ending in blade-like claws. Their mouths dripped with acid. Jin didn't hesitate. He fired his rifle. The kinetic rounds punched through the creature's carapace. It screamed and fell. 2 more took its place. "Grenades!" he shouted. The Marines threw explosive devices. The corridor filled with fire and shrapnel. Body parts flew everywhere. The Ravagers kept coming, but the humans were ready. Private Bo, the squad's best shot, climbed to a high position. His rifle picked off Ravagers one by one. Each shot was perfect. "Each hit was fatal. They just keep coming," someone yelled. "Then we keep killing," Jin replied. They fought through corridors that twisted like intestines. They passed chambers full of eggs and larvae. They saw manufacturing areas where the Ravagers were building new bioships from consumed materials. Jin marked everything on his tactical map. Intelligence would want to know how these things worked. The squad reached what looked like a nerve center. Massive Ravager queens sat in pools of organic fluid, directing the smaller creatures through some kind of telepathic link. "Sol, can you disrupt their communications?" Jin asked. Sol, the team's tech expert, pulled out a device. "This is biotech, not electronics, but I can try something." He set up a sonic emitter and activated it. The sound was beyond human hearing, but the effect was immediate. The queens started thrashing. The smaller Ravagers stopped their coordinated attacks and began moving randomly. "It's working." "They're confused," someone shouted. "Plant the charges," Jin ordered. "We're done here." The Marines placed explosive devices throughout the nerve center and ran. The bioship's interior tried to close around them, but they cut through with plasma torches and blades. They made it back to their pod with seconds to spare. As they ejected, the charges detonated. The bioship tore itself apart from the inside. Back on his flagship, Velthus watched the battle turn. The humans had done in 2 hours what the Council forces couldn't do in months. They had hurt the Ravagers. Made them afraid. Made them run. Day's voice came through the communication system again. "Galactic forces, the orbital space is clear. You can begin evacuating the planet now. We'll provide cover." "Commander Day," Velthus said carefully, "I must thank you. You saved us. But I must also ask, what are you?" There was a pause. Then Day replied, "We're humans from Earth. We heard you needed warriors. So we came." "Warriors," Velthus repeated. He looked at the brutal, scarred Earth ships. He thought about the troops who had boarded a Ravager vessel without hesitation. "Yes, I can see that." As the evacuation began, Velthus realized something that filled him with both hope and fear. The galaxy had spent 10,000 years without real war. They had forgotten what true warriors looked like. They had forgotten what it meant to fight for survival. But Earth remembered. Earth had never stopped fighting, and now those Deathworld survivors had entered the galactic stage. The Ravagers had no idea what was coming for them. Neither did the Galactic Council. The Galactic Council emergency session was chaos. Representatives from dozens of worlds talked over each other, voices rising in panic and confusion. 3 days had passed since the battle at Telmara. 3 days since Earth revealed itself. Ambassador Thel tried to maintain order, but it was impossible. Everyone was afraid. "They used nuclear weapons," shouted an Arcsite counselor. "Weapons of mass destruction are banned by every civilized law." "They boarded enemy ships in environments that would kill any of us within seconds," added a Quellon representative. "What kind of species can survive in radiation, poison, and crushing gravity?" Thel raised his voice. "They saved 3 million lives at Telmara. They drove back the Ravagers when we could not. Whatever they are, they answered our call for help." "That's what terrifies me," said the Arcsite quietly. The chamber doors opened. A human walked in and the room fell silent. Hana moved with calm confidence. She wore a simple uniform with no weapons, but every eye tracked her like she was a predator. She climbed to the speaker's platform and looked out at the assembled aliens. "Honorable counselors," she began in perfect Velitan. "I am Hana, representing the United Earth Defense Force. I understand you have questions about my people. I'm here to answer them." "Where did you come from?" Thel asked. "We've been monitoring Earth for 200 years. You were marked as pre-spaceflight, primitive, developing. How do you have a fleet of warships?" Hana smiled slightly. "We've been monitoring you too. For 60 years. We learned your languages. We studied your technology. We stayed hidden because we saw how you treat species you consider primitive. We didn't want to be controlled or restricted." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The idea of being watched without knowledge disturbed them. "You asked about our ships," Hana continued. "Let me tell you about Earth." She activated a holographic display. A blue and green planet appeared, slowly rotating. "This is our world. We call it Earth. By your standards, it's a death trap." The display zoomed in, showing data. Numbers appeared that made the counselors gasp. Gravity, 1.0 g. Most of your worlds have 0.3 to 0.5 g. Our gravity is 2 to 3 times stronger than what you evolved in. Every step we take, every movement we make, we're fighting against crushing force. She changed the image to show atmosphere composition. Oxygen content, 21%. For most of you, oxygen is corrosive poison. We breathe it constantly. We need it to survive. It literally burns energy in our cells. More images showed violent storms, earthquakes, volcanoes, and massive temperature swings. Our planet is geologically active. It tries to kill us regularly. Storms with winds that could tear apart your buildings. Ground that splits open and swallows cities. Mountains that explode with liquid rock. We evolved to survive all of it. The display changed to show Earth's wildlife. Predators with teeth and claws. Microscopic organisms. Venomous creatures. Our biosphere is a war zone. Everything competes to survive. We have creatures that could hunt and kill most sentient species. We have diseases that evolve faster than we can cure them. We have plants that are poisonous to touch. Hana paused, letting that sink in. We are endurance hunters. Our bodies can run for hours without stopping. We can regulate our temperature through sweat. We heal from injuries that would be fatal to most species. We can eat food that would poison you. We can survive in environments from frozen wastelands to burning deserts. An old Velitan counselor stood up, his voice shaking. "Why are you telling us this?" "Because you need to understand what you invited into your war," Hana said calmly. "You sent a distress call asking for warriors. You got Deathworlders. We are what happens when evolution has no mercy." She changed the display to show human history. Wars, weapons, destruction. We've been fighting for our entire existence. Fighting nature. Fighting each other. Fighting diseases. Fighting extinction events. We've nearly destroyed ourselves a dozen times, but we learned. We adapted. We survived. The display showed human technology. Weapons that made the counselors flinch. Our technology reflects our nature. You use energy weapons because they're clean and efficient. We use kinetic weapons because they work in any condition. You banned nuclear weapons because they're too destructive. We built them to stop our own wars. You follow battle protocols. We do whatever it takes to win. Thel spoke carefully. Are you saying you have no ethics? No morals? No, Hana said firmly. We have both. But our ethics were forged in survival, not peace. We value life because we know how fragile it is. We value freedom because we fought for it. We help others because we remember being helpless. She deactivated the display and looked directly at the council. You've lived in peace for 10,000 years. That's wonderful. It's what we dream of. But it also means you forgot how to fight a real enemy. The Ravagers don't care about your laws or your protocols. They only understand destruction. So you'll destroy them for us? Asked an Arcsite, her crystalline body shimmering with fear. We'll fight them with you, Hana corrected. But you need to accept what that means. War isn't clean. It isn't honorable. It's survival. And we're very good at surviving. While the council debated, Admiral Kwan sat in a secure room aboard the Earth command ship with her intelligence team. Ray, the intelligence specialist, had been analyzing everything they'd learned about the Ravagers. It doesn't make sense, Ray said, pointing at holographic data. The Ravagers appeared suddenly 10 months ago. No warning. No evolution trail. They're too perfect. What do you mean? Kwan asked. They adapt instantly to new threats. They reproduce at impossible speeds. They have biotechnology that's more advanced than anything the Council has. This isn't natural evolution. Someone designed them. Quan felt ice in her stomach. A weapon? A weapon, Ray confirmed. Someone created the Ravagers and released them. This whole crisis is artificial. Do the Council species know? I don't think so. They're too trusting. They don't think like this. Quan thought for a moment. We need proof. We need to know who created them and why. I'll need a sample, Ray said. A live specimen. Preferably a queen. Quan smiled grimly. I know just who to ask. Captain Jin received his orders with a mix of excitement and dread. Capture a living Ravager queen. Bring it back for study. Do it without the Council knowing. This is a Black Ops mission, he told his team. No support, no backup. If we get caught, Earth will deny we exist. Bo, the sniper, checked his weapons. Sounds like fun. Sol, the tech expert, looked nervous. How do we capture something that big? Very carefully, Jin said with a grin. They took a small stealth ship to a Ravager-occupied mining world. The planet was already being consumed. The surface was covered with biomass and Ravager structures. The team landed in the dark, moving through the alien landscape like ghosts. Their training in every Earth environment prepared them for this. They had fought in jungles, deserts, Arctic wastelands, and underwater. This was just another mission. They found a queen in a massive organic chamber. She was 3 times the size of a regular Ravager, connected to hundreds of tubes and organic machines. How do we move that? Whispered one Marine. Sol pulled out a device. Electroparalysis. It'll shut down her nervous system temporarily. They set up the device and activated it. The queen convulsed and went still. The smaller Ravagers around her started moving erratically, confused. Move fast, Jin ordered. They loaded the paralyzed queen into a stasis container and ran. The Ravager forces were waking up, realizing something was wrong. The humans fought their way back to their ship, leaving a trail of dead Ravagers. As they escaped into space, Jin looked at the container. Inside was the key to understanding the enemy. The key to ending the war, but also the key to uncovering a conspiracy that would shake the galaxy to its core. The Ravagers struck 3 core worlds at the same time. Millions died in the first hour. The Galactic Council forces scrambled to respond, but they were spread too thin. Panic filled the communication channels. On the bridge of the human dreadnought Indomitable, Commander Day watched the tactical displays with calm focus. His crew worked efficiently around him, no panic, no wasted motion. Analysis? He asked. His tactical officer highlighted the attacks. All 3 targets are agricultural worlds. Low military presence, high population. The Ravagers are trying to create fear and chaos. It's working, said another officer. The Council fleets are scattered. They're trying to protect every world at once. Day nodded. Contact Admiral Quan. Tell her we have a solution, but the Council won't like it. 20 minutes later, Day stood before a holographic conference. Council leaders, Earth Command, and military officers from a dozen species filled the virtual room. We can save all 3 worlds, Day said without preamble. But we need to act now, and we need to use unconventional methods. What methods? Asked Ambassador Thel nervously. Hana stepped forward, standing beside Day. Biological warfare. The room exploded with shouts and protests. Biological weapons were the most forbidden technology in Council law. Species had been expelled from the galaxy for even researching them. Hana waited for the noise to die down before continuing. We've been studying the Ravager Queen we captured. We understand their biology now. We can create a targeted pathogen that will only affect Ravagers. It won't harm any other species. That's still genocide, an Arcside counselor protested. It's a line we cannot cross. Then millions of your people will die instead, Quan said bluntly. The old admiral's face was hard. The Ravagers are already committing genocide. Against you. We're offering you a way to stop them. There must be another way, Thel said desperately. There isn't, Day said. Not in time. We can deploy the pathogen within hours. It will spread through the Ravager swarms and kill them from within. Your conventional weapons will take weeks to arrive, and by then those worlds will be gone. The Council members looked at each other with horror and desperation. They had built their civilization on laws and ethics. Now those same principles were getting their people killed. Finally, Thel spoke. If we agree to this, the responsibility falls on Earth. We cannot officially authorize biological weapons. Understood, Quan said. When the history books are written, Make us the villains if you want. We'll still save your people. The decision was made. The humans deployed their solution. Jan, the xenobiologist, had worked for 3 days straight creating the pathogen. It was a masterpiece of targeted biology. It would only activate in Ravager cellular structures. It would spread through their telepathic network like wildfire, and it would be lethal within hours. Human ships flew over the 3 besieged worlds, releasing the pathogen into the atmosphere. The Council forces were ordered to pull back and let the humans work. The results were terrifying to watch. The Ravagers began dying in massive numbers. Their bioships fell from the sky. Their ground forces collapsed. Within 2 days, all 3 worlds were clear. 3 million people were saved. The Council was grateful but disgusted. They had asked Deathworlders for help and received exactly what Deathworlders did best: efficient, ruthless victory. Ambassador Nari stood before the Council and defended Earth's actions. She was younger than Hana, but her voice carried strength. "You asked for warriors," she said. "You asked us to save your people, we did. Don't condemn us for fighting the only way that works. We didn't start this war. We didn't create the Ravagers, but we're willing to do what's necessary to end the threat." "At what cost to your souls?" asked an old Velaton. "We'll carry that cost," Nari replied. "That's what warriors do. We do the hard things so others don't have to. We live with the consequences so others can live in peace." The Council had no response to that. While the political debates raged, Ray and her intelligence team made a discovery that changed everything. The captured Ravager Queen had genetic markers that didn't occur naturally. Someone had deliberately engineered these creatures. Ray traced the markers back through Council databases. The work was careful, hidden behind layers of security. But human hacking methods were far more aggressive than anything the Council used. She found the source: a research facility in the forbidden progenitor sector. The progenitors were an ancient Council race that had experimented with dangerous technologies before vanishing mysteriously. But the facility hadn't been abandoned. Someone was still using it, and the access codes belonged to High Counselor Praxtor, an Arcsite who had served on the Council for 300 years. Ray brought her findings to Admiral Quan. "It's him. Praxtor created the Ravagers, or at least he activated them from progenitor research." "Why?" Quan asked. "Power. Look at the pattern. The Ravager attacks create chaos. The Council becomes desperate. Then Praxtor proposes solutions that give him more authority. He's been consolidating power with each crisis. I think he planned to discover a cure after he had enough control. He'd be the savior of the galaxy." "He didn't count on us," Quan said grimly. "No. We ruined his plans by actually fighting back effectively. Now he's trapped. If we stop the Ravagers completely, he loses his crisis. If he can't control the Ravagers, he loses everything." Quan made a decision. "We need proof the Council can't ignore. We need to catch him in the act." Pilot G was the best flyer in the Earth fleet. She could navigate through asteroid fields blindfolded and outrun anything with engines. When she received orders to scout the progenitor homeworld, she knew it would be dangerous. The Forbidden Sector had automated defenses that had destroyed every Council probe sent there. But G wasn't flying a Council ship. She was flying a human stealth craft designed to be invisible to sensors. She slipped through the defensive grid like a shadow. The ancient weapons tracked empty space while she passed right by them. Years of dogfighting against other humans had taught her to think 3 moves ahead. The progenitor homeworld was dead but not empty. Massive facilities still operated, powered by systems that had run for thousands of years. In the center of the largest complex, G spotted ships, Arcsite designs, Praxtor's personal fleet. She recorded everything and slipped away. The evidence was undeniable. When Quan presented the proof to the Council, chaos erupted. Praxtor tried to deny it, but the data was clear. His genetic signature was all over the facility access logs. His ships had been visiting the progenitor world for years. "You created the Ravagers," Thel said, his voice filled with betrayal. "You killed millions of our people. For what, political power?" Praxtor's crystalline form turned dark with rage. "You fools don't understand. The Council has grown weak. We needed a threat to unite us, to make us strong again. I would have saved everyone in the end. I would have been a hero." "You're a monster," said a Quellon representative. Praxtor laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "No, the real monsters are them." He pointed at the humans. "You invited Deathworlders into our galaxy. They'll destroy everything we've built. I was trying to protect us from that. By killing us first? Nari asked quietly. Praxtor had no answer. He activated an emergency transport and vanished. His ships fled toward the progenitor homeworld. He's going to activate something, Ray said immediately. He wouldn't run there unless he had a backup plan. Day pulled up sensor data from G's scout mission. Deep in the progenitor facility was a massive weapon system. Ancient, powerful, capable of sterilizing entire star systems. He's going to destroy half the galaxy, Day said. If he can't rule it, he'll make sure no one can. Quan looked at her officers. Prepare the fleet. We're going after him. The progenitor homeworld is a death trap, warned a council military officer. The gravity alone will crush your ships. Then we'll walk, Captain Jin said, stepping forward. We've trained for worse. The final battle was about to begin. The progenitor homeworld loomed in the view screen like a dead god. The planet was massive, 3 times Earth's size, with gravity that would crush most ships before they reached the surface. The atmosphere glowed with radiation from ancient weapons still active after thousands of years. Commander Day watched the tactical display as Praxtor's fleet took defensive positions around the planet. Automated defense platforms activated, weapons that had destroyed entire armadas in the ancient wars. The Council forces can't even get close, his tactical officer reported. The gravity well is pulling their ships apart. What about us? Dee asked. We can make it, barely, but landing will be suicide. Day smiled grimly. Good thing we specialize in suicide missions then. The human fleet pushed forward. Their ships were built heavier, stronger, designed by engineers who understood that sometimes you needed to endure rather than dodge. The gravity tore at them, but they held together through sheer structural strength. Praxtor's forces opened fire. Energy weapons blazed across space. The ancient defense platforms added their own firepower. The human ships took hits, armor buckling, but they kept coming. Return fire, Day ordered calmly. The human fleet answered with kinetic weapons and missiles. Solid slugs traveling at relativistic speeds punched through energy shields that weren't designed to stop physical impacts. Nuclear-tipped missiles created blooms of destruction. One by one, Praxtor's ships fell. The ancient defense platforms were harder to destroy, but human weapons had been designed to break anything. Overwhelming firepower solved most problems. We've got an opening, the navigation officer called out. 30 seconds before the defenses recharge. All assault teams launch now, Day commanded. Dozens of drop pods shot from the human ships, falling toward the planet like meteors. Inside one pod, Captain Jin and his team held tight as gravity tried to crush them. 3 Gs and climbing, someone grunted. 4 Gs, 5. The pods were designed for this. The humans inside were trained for this. But it still hurt. Every breath was a struggle. Every heartbeat was effort. They endured because that's what humans did. The pods hit the surface at terminal velocity, crashing through ancient buildings and burrowing into the ground. Jin's pod door blew open and he staggered out into a nightmare. The gravity was 3 times Earth's normal. Every step felt like climbing a mountain. The atmosphere was toxic, thick with chemicals that would dissolve most organic life. The temperature was hot enough to boil water. Radiation saturated everything. Welcome to hell, Jin said through his helmet. Let's get to work. His team included the best warriors Earth had. Poe the sniper who never missed. Sol, who could hack anything. Tay, the engineer who could build or break any machine. Yan, the biologist who understood life in all its forms. They moved through the progenitor ruins like ghosts despite the crushing gravity. Council species would have died instantly in this environment, but humans had evolved on a death world. This was just a really bad day. The facility Praxtor had fled to was enormous. Ancient machines still hummed with power. Holographic displays showed progenitor technology that the Council had never understood. And at the center of it all was the Doomsday weapon. It looked like a massive crystal pulsing with energy. Tendrils of power reached out to connection points across the planet. When fully charged, it could emit a pulse that would sterilize every world in 100 light-years. Praxtor stood before it, his crystalline form glowing with triumph. You're too late, Deathworlders. The weapon will fire in 10 minutes. The galaxy will learn the price of rejecting me. Why? Jin asked, his weapon trained on the mad counselor. Why destroy everything? Because I tried to save them. Praxtor's voice echoed through the chamber. I created the Ravagers to unite the Council, to make them strong. But they invited you instead. You'll corrupt everything we've built over 10,000 years. Better to destroy it all than let Deathworlders inherit the stars. You're insane, Jan said quietly. I'm visionary, Praxtor corrected. He activated a control, and synthetic guardians emerged from the walls. Ancient war machines built by progenitors for protection. Each one was 3 meters tall, armored in energy-resistant materials, armed with weapons that could level buildings. Kill them, Praxtor commanded. The battle was brutal. The guardians were fast and deadly, but they were also old, built to fight progenitor-era threats. They weren't prepared for human tactics. Bo found a high position and started picking off guardians with precise shots to their sensor arrays. Blinded guardians became confused, firing at each other. Sol hacked into the facility's ancient network, using quantum computing that bypassed the old security. He started shutting down guardians remotely, turning some against others. Tay and Jan worked on the doomsday weapon itself, trying to understand its mechanisms. The weapon was counting down. 8 minutes. Jin fought the guardians head-on, using the heavy gravity to his advantage. He moved low and fast, using his superior endurance to outlast the machines. When a guardian's weapons overheated from continuous fire, Jin was there to exploit the weakness. 7 minutes. Tay called out. This thing is too complex. We can't shut it down in time. Then we don't shut it down, Jan said suddenly. We redirect it, she pointed at the power conduits. The weapon is designed to project energy outward. If we reverse the polarity, it will direct all that energy inward, into the planet's core. That will destroy the planet, Sewell said. Yes, but it will save the galaxy. Jin made a decision. Do it, everyone else, we're leaving. Now. The gravity is too strong for a normal liftoff, Bo said. Our pods can't escape. Then we call for a pickup, Jin replied. He activated his emergency beacon. In orbit, Commander Day saw the signal. Get me a ship down there. I don't care about the gravity. Do it, a pilot volunteered. G. Of course it was G. She took a small assault craft and dove into the gravity well. The ship screamed in protest, hull groaning, engines pushing beyond their limits. But she made it down, landing near the facility. Inside, Jan and Tay worked frantically. 5 minutes, 4, 3. They reversed the polarity on the main conduits. The weapon's energy started flowing backward, building up inside the planet's core. It's going to blow, Jan confirmed. 2 minutes, the team ran. Jin grabbed Praxtor, who had been frozen in shock as his plan fell apart. They dragged the mad counselor with them. The guardians tried to stop them, but Bo held them off with covering fire. Sol sealed doors behind them, buying seconds. They reached the surface as the planet started shaking. G had the ship ready, engines hot, ramped down. Get in, now! They piled into the craft. G launched before the door was even fully closed. The ship clawed its way out of the gravity well, fighting every meter of altitude. Behind them, the progenitor homeworld began to tear itself apart. The doomsday weapon's energy overloaded the planet's core. The surface cracked open. Volcanoes erupted. The ancient facility was swallowed by fire. G pushed the ship harder than it was ever designed to go. They broke free of the gravity well seconds before the planet exploded. The shockwave caught them, sending the ship tumbling, but they survived. In the command ship, Day caught the assault craft in a tractor beam and pulled them to safety. The team stumbled out, battered but alive. Praxtor was placed in restraints. The mad counselor would face justice before the galaxy. The battle was over. The conspiracy was exposed. The Ravagers, without their hidden controllers, began to die off as their biological systems failed. The galaxy was saved. 2 weeks later, Ambassador Nari stood before a full session of the Galactic Council. The chamber was packed with representatives from every member world. Humans were the topic everyone wanted to discuss. You saved us, Ambassador Thel said. You exposed the traitor in our midst. You stopped a weapon that would have killed billions. We owe you a debt we can never repay. We don't want payment, Nari said. We want partnership. Many of our people are afraid of you, an Arcsite counselor admitted. You are so different from us, so willing to do things we consider unthinkable. We are different, Nari agreed. We come from a world that showed no mercy. We evolved to survive what would kill most species. We fight in ways that disturb you, but we also value things you might not expect. She gestured to the humans standing with her, Ti Jin, Hana, Quan, and others. We value loyalty. We answered your call when you were strangers. We value sacrifice. We risked our lives for people we'd never met. We value freedom, We stayed hidden for decades to avoid being controlled, and we value peace. We've seen enough war to know its true cost. What do you want from the galaxy? Thel asked. A chance, Nari said simply. A chance to prove we can be more than warriors. A chance to share what we've learned. A chance to be part of something bigger than ourselves. The council debated for hours. Some argued for quarantine. Others argued for limited contact. But in the end, they voted. Humanity was granted full council membership. Earth's representatives would serve in the new Galactic Defense Force, reformed with human military knowledge. In exchange, humans would learn from council sciences, arts, and cultures. It wasn't perfect. There would be conflicts, cultural misunderstandings, fear and suspicion on both sides. But it was a beginning. Captain Jin stood with his team looking out at the stars. They had emerged from the shadows and changed the galaxy forever.